Hello, butthole breathers. How are we doing today? Did you almost just spit your coffee out?
Yeah, it's water, but yeah, I almost did spit it out. I wasn't
Oh,
wasn't prepared for that. I know
yeah.
that we butthole breathe, but I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, we're the butthole breathers. Why not? We gotta have fun.
It's
I
true.
am so excited for y'all to join us today. I'm sitting down, well, zooming out with subconscious mindset strategist Brenda Johnston. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you and feature this for people because I feel like it's not talked about enough. So last week, if you listen to the episode, we were with Jeff Swaim, NFL player, and he kind of mentioned he does his own mindset work. I do my own mindset work with the body when we're healing it, but there's something else that needs to be managed, and that is your brain. I talk about my hamster wheel all the time, and I'm so grateful that I've worked with Brenda, and she kind of puts it all in perspective. And we're going to just dive into that a little bit more. So, first, what do you want people to know about what you do?
It's not magic. And I say that jokingly because a lot of the times when people are working with me, they start to experience new states of being like happiness or joy or things that, they haven't experienced in a really long time. And then they're like, is this magic? No, it's just we're tapping into areas of your subconscious mind and your energy centers in your body, and we're helping you reconnect to you essentially, because so many of us have been not living in our bodies or disconnected from ourselves for years. So it can be strange.
Yeah. And one of the questions I had for you, I remember when we chatted like initially of, hey, what's best? How is this different than like therapy? Like I've done therapy and like what, what's the difference?
So I've done a lot of therapy as well. I've done so much therapy, but it's true.
Yeah.
Years ago, I wish I would have known about this type of work when I was in my 20s. The difference between therapy is therapy will take you backwards to kind of look at things that happened before, and then you reflect on things. And I always say, when I was doing therapy, I felt like they would take me back and leave me there and not give me the tools to move forward. Whereas when I'm working with people, yes, are we going to deal with stuff that maybe happened back there? Sure. But I want you in the present moment, because the present moment's where we create our future, essentially.
Mhm.
So, and I want to reiterate to people too, I want to give you the tools so that you can go about life and be able to get yourself out of a spiral if you need to, or be able to visualize in different ways, or be able to really focus on something you're creating in a different way. I'm all about present moment, not going
Right.
backwards.
And like I love that you have this 3 week thing right now. Like when I'm in an acute spiral or whatever, it's like, hey, can we just do like a 3 week quick intensive to like move forward or goals? Can you speak?
That's a great word, actually, an intensive.
Yeah.
It is. I brought the 3 week subconscious system reboot to life because, yes, I offer a 3 month program, but right now, especially, and it might be the time of year, like I live in Canada, it's gloomy, it's dark, we don't see the sun a lot. But right now, there's a lot of people kind of spiraling. They're feeling stuck. They're beating themselves up because they feel like they're behind in business. It's like, okay, it's only February. So sometimes we literally need to just reboot. And with the subconscious system reboot, we're using, like, how it works is the same as how I work with you. We're doing a combination of whole brain activation techniques. We're doing emotional release stuff. And of course, we're using hypnosis because that's one of my favorite tools. So it's really great for somebody who's in an acute situation right now and they need to make a change because they can't focus and they're like, oh, I don't want to feel like this anymore.
Well, and so many people have commitment issues. Like 3 weeks, like is better. And let's see where we can get then. Sometimes for people, then
Yeah,
oh, three
absolutely.
months, even though 3 months is amazing and you're going to get way farther. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I like to call it, I said this the other day, I'm like, it's like the 7 layer burrito. Like us as humans are like a 7 layer burrito, but this work is like a 7 layer burrito. So in the 3 week, you're going to get the tortilla and like maybe the rice, but it's still going to be awesome. And then when you're working with me in the full program, you're getting the whole burrito. but also people, we are like burritos because we have so many layers and they're all different. I used to compare us to onions, and I was like,
Oh, I
no,
like
we're
that.
actually like burritos because
Mhm.
every layer is different. They're all great, they're just different.
Oh, I like that. And some people like, I don't like beans on my burrito. So, I mean,
See?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, one of the things that I want to hit on that talking in interviews here, and we can even use me as an example of how your brain, like brain and energy, like the wiring within your pathways. I talk about on the podcast all the time about how we are trying to change compensation patterns in your muscles and your nerves. But that's that way with like anxiety and stress too. Like, for example, when I am in, which I've been in, an acute, crazy stress response, I am dry heaving, I am throwing up, and it is so hard. And I'm using all my nervous system techniques that I talk about. But still, sometimes I need that extra, like, hey, like, can we get out of this from help from you? And can you just talk about that connection, the mind and the body, and from your point of view and what your work?
I listen, I love the mind body connection. I actually got into this area of work because I started out as a nutritional therapist and I got obsessed with the mind gut connection and
Mm.
how like we make serotonin and all the things in our gut. Anyways, yeah, think of you. We're going to use another metaphor. Now you're not a burrito, you're a record. So think of like a record and it's got those grooves, right? And the needle of the record player comes down and it goes in the groove. Those grooves are the neural pathways. There are habits, there are behaviors. And so they're ingrained in us. And so when we are so used to functioning a certain way, so like the dry heaving, the anxiety, and your whole body feels it's like, ooh, your body is so used to that that it's sometimes hard to change those patterns of behavior, which is why we start going into the subconscious mind and also your energetic systems, but especially the subconscious mind, because we want to help release that fear or trauma or whatever it is causing it. We want to help release it out of your body so we can create new and empowering beliefs, new empowering behaviors and ways of being, so that when you have a moment like that, it doesn't affect you as intensely. Now, I've had people who, after like one session, like we see each other for the first time, they let go of years worth of behaviors.
That's
And
pretty
then
cool.
down the road, they're like, it came back, but it didn't trigger me as much.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. So our goal is to help calm your nervous system down so your subconscious mind feels safe to open to making changes. The other challenge I see a lot, surface level mindset work. And there's nothing wrong with it because we have our conscious level mind and our subconscious, two distinctly different layers of our mind, okay? So our conscious beliefs, they're easier to spot. Doing things like journaling or listening to affirmations, and I love affirmations, they're great. They have to be written right though. That stuff is great for your conscious mind. But the challenge is I see all these people online talking about, oh, use these journal prompts to change your subconscious beliefs. Use these journal prompts to do whatever. Use affirmations to change your subconscious beliefs. And I'm like, that doesn't actually work with your subconscious mind. I mean, it would, wow, you'd have to do those things on repeat for a really long time. And so if we're only trying to do conscious level things to change those behaviors of like, oh man, when I get triggered, my whole body just seizes up, it's not really going to work,
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to take a really long time. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you and I are working together, I'm giving you even more tools. I'm like, okay, you're going to tap on your thymus gland because it's connected to like your emotional centers
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it calms our nervous system down.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to the hypnosis programs. Not only is that calming your nervous system down, but it's giving you new positive suggestions. So your mind starts to go, oh, this is my new way of being. I get to feel happy for no apparent reason. I get to visualize in a different way. I get to achieve unlimited success. And you know what makes me laugh? And I'm sure you can relate to this. when you talk to athletes or singers or anybody who's doing something on a large scale, they use visualization and all these things on the regular, and
Hmm.
nobody
Hmm.
thinks it's weird.
Right. And yeah, I mean, they're visualizing what they want the game to look like, what they want their body to feel like. I'm doing some of that with them within my scope. And yeah, and that's just like normal. And that's how you elevate yourself to the next level. So, as I mean, people and CEOs, business owners, and regular life, whatever you want to call it, why aren't we talking about that more as a tool to help you like live your best life and feel good?
I feel like it's starting to be talked about a little bit more regularly.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is, especially when it comes to working with me, a lot of people see this type of work as like a luxury versus a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Like in business, even in sports, you can have all the systems, you can have all the things, but if your mind isn't on board with what you want to do, it's going to be really hard to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and yeah, and like that's how I found you. Some of my top business mentors were like, this is one of my secrets is like, you got to figure out your mind. Like, I am very transparent on here. Like, my mind isn't leans towards the anxiety spin and the worry. And they're like, if you don't have a hold of that, like, you're taking up so much bandwidth for yourself of being able to think of a new idea or take your business or your clients to the next level because you're just sitting there in that perpetual anxiety and worry.
Yeah. And a lot of the people who come to work with me, it's because of that exact reason, but also a lot of people have hit like a plateau in their income. They want to make more money. Okay, but what if your nervous system, if your body, if your mind doesn't feel safe for some reason making more money, it's going to be really hard to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of women who come to work with me, they have visibility issues. They're afraid to put themselves out there because again, it's not safe. Well, if I put myself out there, I'm either going to have to work harder and I'm going to burn out. And we've all experienced the overwhelm and the burnout, even me. And so that's scary. That your subconscious mind essentially is trying to keep you safe, even if it's making you repeat negative patterns. Because it's just, it likes comfort, it likes all the things. Okay. And so, what I always like to say is, I feel like our subconscious mind gets demonized a little bit. It's actually a great partner. When you learn to work with it and learn how to speak to it, man, it's like a genie in a bottle. It can help you achieve amazing things because it's on board with you. It's like, yeah, let's do this. Like I said, affirmations are great, but they have limitations because a lot of the generic affirmations out there, like I'm great at what I do, or I'm a millionaire, or whatever, you can say that on a conscious level, but if your subconscious mind has proof and evidence that that's not true, you're going to hit so much resistance and so much self sabotage. And that's not just with making money, it's in sports, it's all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when I'm teaching people how to do affirmations, I'm always like, okay, I want you to say things like, I am the type of person that,
Mm-hmm.
because when you say that, it's a present moment statement because your subconscious only lives in the present moment. And when you say, I'm the type of person that money flows easily to you, I'm the type of person that wins a Super Bowl, I'm the type of person that does whatever, your subconscious mind goes, yeah, I am that type of person. And so then it
Mm-hmm.
helps open up to new possibilities and new pathways of potential that you might not have even seen before. As humans, we are conditioned, and I almost wanted to use the word trained. We're trained to bond over negativity at a very young age because that's how you fit in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh, that's a good one. That's so true.
it is. I
Complain,
worked in
complain,
corporate.
complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was working in corporate, I remember walking through the cafeteria one day because I had to go up 8 floors. And I just remember listening, not like a creeper, but like I could hear people. Everybody was complaining about their job, their boss, their spouse, their kids, their lack of vacation. I was just like, whoa. And the
Miserable.
whole, yeah, they are miserable. And the whole term water cooler gossip. Yeah,
Never heard
because,
that, but
okay, so in the olden days, there was this term called water cooler gossip, because what would happen is in the corporate environments, you would go for a break and hang out by the water cooler. This is me leaning on the water cooler, hang out by the water cooler and talk to Sally Joe about all the shit that was going wrong in your life, bonding
Mm,
over negativity.
yep. And that's
So,
common today too.
yeah. So the funny thing is, when you start doing this type of work, you're no longer attracted to that kind of conversation. And that in itself can be scary, because then it's like, well, what if I don't fit in anymore?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, those people gossiping are actually annoying me right now, and I don't want to be around them.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to see clearer, you start to open up to different things, and you start to behave in different ways. Because the gossiping and all the crap, listen, we are all human, we all gossip, okay? It's a thing. But if you're constantly doing it like on repeat, that also affects your body, because it affects your energy. Your
Mm-hmm.
body will become inflamed. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to end up having pain manifesting in your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your issues are in your tissues.
Yeah, they are.
And like we see that every day. And I mean, I'm on the what do you call it? The soapbox maybe of, we have a pain scale, 0 to 10, 10 being puking, throwing up. People ask you that all the time. But why are we not asking what's your stress level? What's a stress scale? Why is that not a conversation? Because it directly goes hand in hand, body, mindset, all of it.
Mhm.
And just like you were saying, the gut brain connection. Okay, that's so true. But there's also another connection, the stress pain connection. And that has to do with not only your body, but your mindset. And another thing, energy. And this has been one of my favorite things to work with you about, because early on in school, all these seminars, if you're listening, I'm sure you've heard this quote, but they used to always say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Like as a doctor walking in, you hear they have terrible bedside manner because they're quick to the point. This is it. It's like, no, people want to feel that you care about them. So, and the way you put it is your energy speaks before you open your mouth when you walk in a room. And I'm like, yeah. So it's kind of saying the same thing, but it's just like, if your energy and like your stress level is all over the place, it is hard to walk in a room, whether that's business, at home, your relationship, friends, and have that deeper conversation or that intentionality of like clear combo of what you're trying to communicate, because you're just all over the place and you can't focus, and people can feel that and it doesn't feel good. It feels like messy.
Yeah. How many times have you like met someone and you don't even want to be around them because their energy is just giving off this like, ee! And you're like, whoa, no, thank you. Our bodies are like cell phone towers, right? We're constantly pinging out and taking energy in. And this isn't woo, it's actual science. We are energetic beings. But when I first start having these conversations with a lot of people about like managing your energy, making sure you're grounded, making sure you're safe and contained in your own energetic bubble, they sometimes look at me like I'm a little crazy. And then I get them doing it. It takes 4.5 minutes, like super quick. I get them doing it consistently. And they're like, wow, actually, like I feel more clear headed and I feel better and I'm not taking on everybody else's emotions. Do you know how many doctors I work with, doctors and practitioners who are like seeing so many people, and they come to me and they say, oh, I'm just exhausted because I'm just feeling, yeah, you exactly. I'm just feeling everybody's emotions. I'm just feeling everybody's energy. Yes, we should not be soaking that all up, which is also why one of the things I taught you is like, you need to learn to observe this and not absorb it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's
And
funny. So, and like you said, I think people are talking about it more. I have clients every day asking me, hey, you see so many people. Like, what do you do? Because they're like, every time you leave, kind of like, I mean, with you, like, it's this relaxation you can't describe of like, with treatment, you're breathing correctly, you're getting everything firing, activating correctly. You're doing it from a subconscious level of a different, like in your mind, I'm doing it with muscles and brain. And they're like, what do you do? And it's so funny. It's been like more popular in the last year. People are like, what do you do to disconnect from that? I'm like, oh, well, thank you for asking. I'm still learning. But one of my favorite things is just getting in the shower when I get home, a body shower, because like we only need to wash our hair like once a week, right?
yeah, it's true.
And just thinking of like, okay, rinse it off, rinse it off. Do you have any other
Yes, this is my
energy
favorite
things that you would
topic.
like
Of
to
course
share
I
with
do.
people? Yeah.
So I back to the mind a little bit because this goes with the energy. Intention. All you have to do essentially is set the intention. So you could do it in between clients. And this is what I do between clients. I just set the intention to release anything that isn't mine, because intention is like the operating guide for your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind helps create your unique energetic frequency that you send out. So the second you go, I'm setting the intention to release whatever's not mine, and do it mindfully. You can't half-ass energy. Like, you have to be mindful. So it's like, okay, I'm going to take a big deep breath in. I'm just going to say I'm setting the intention to clear whatever's not mine. I also shake my hands, because when you move your body, you can get rid of stuff. And that's what I do in between clients. I love the shower thing at the end of the day. That's also one of my big things. In the morning, I'm grounding myself. I'm like connecting to myself,
Breathing in your butthole.
breathing in my butthole, because you've taught me how to do that. Literally takes less than 4 minutes. Anybody who says they don't have time, I call BS on that. I have a client who has a 3-year-old daughter. Her 3-year-old even knows how to bubble herself up and like clear her energy off. So,
Yeah.
like,
And I'm referring back to this recent interview just because like he brought it up on his own. If you guys haven't listened, it's the one previously last week with the NFL player. But he said something that was pretty cool. He was like, I want to be calm going on the field. He's like, I think everyone thinks that we want to be pumped up. He's like, I can't focus when I'm not pumped up. I want to be calm, cool, and collected and not hyped up. And like another energy management tool is essentially what he was talking about. And I think it's really cool, like in sports, like you saying, it's normal. They do it all the time. And why aren't we doing it?
mm-hmm. And I love that you said that, because I was working with a baseball player a couple of years ago, and it was the same thing. He's like, I don't want to be all amped up. I want to be contained and calm, so I can visualize what's going to happen, so that I can be present. And so with him, it was a lot of like, okay, well, let's work on keeping you safe and containing our energy. Let's work on creating an anchor, so that the moment you're stepping out on the field, your whole body knows, okay, now I'm calm. This is how I'm going to feel going out and doing this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, it is so, so important for all people to be safe and contain in our own energy. It means we're not going to be picking up other people's emotions. It means we're more clear headed. It means we can connect into our intuition more, make decisions differently. Like, it's such a beautiful thing. But again, people either look at it and go, that's woo, or they look at it like it's a luxury. Like, the top people that I work with, the top people in their fields, they're not working with me because they have a lot of money just laying around and they don't know what to do with it. They're working with me because they know what it costs them to not work with me.
Mm-hmm.
They know what it costs them to stay in that state of stuckness or overwhelm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Well, you can't
don't,
function in it.
no, you don't thrive in that space.
No, even though I really did think I was addicted to living in that, because it once you again, it becomes a pattern you're kind of addicted
Yeah.
to. But being on the other side after the work we've done, it's like, no, actually, I'm way more productive and happier and feel like more joyful in the moment, everything when it's like you have these tools. And once again, like you said, you're giving people tools. You don't need to see them for the rest of their lives unless you want to do like the 3-week check-in if you're having a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the tools to help you help yourself. And like I'm so big on that. That's why I have the game plans. That's how we work in the office. Like, yes, of course, if you want to come to us forever, great. We're here to help you. There's tons of things we can work on. But also here are the tools for you to help yourself a little bit. And one of the reasons I love you is because of that.
I appreciate that. And, it's interesting because we do function very similarly with the work we do, and we want people to have the tools to do the things. Is there going to be times when people are like, I'm having a moment, I don't know what to do? Yes, absolutely. And then they're going to reach out to us, like people like us, and
Yeah.
but they also learn not to wait till they're in the pain,
Yeah.
mentally or physically,
It's way easier.
to come.
it's easier for us as the practitioner and easier for them to get out of it. And I think that's learning your body, learning your mind, and like your triggers in both instances, like you said, of, yeah. And that's what I tell people. Listen, I want this to be a lifelong relationship. I want you to check in, but like, you don't have to come, like,
And
yeah.
same thing with you. People will come because they like the up level. I had somebody on my podcast the other day. She's worked with me for 6 years, not because she needs to, because every time we reach a new level, she's like, whoa, what can we do now?
Mm-hmm.
Where can
Mm-hmm.
we go now? What can I create now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that's
Because
the thing. Like
and
you
we
have
want
that.
you to be happy about that stuff, not being addicted to the pain and the suffering.
Right. And I mean, I guess the flip side's for us, like like we have the other athletes with the performance training. Like I
Yeah.
want to get better. Like, and it's a necessity. I mean, you only get one body, one mind. Why are we not investing more and more? Like you say, it's not a luxury. It's your only body and mind. Why don't you want to feel as good as possible? Be present in the moment, be able to achieve your goals. Like, hello.
And going back to the negativity thing, it's like we've been conditioned almost to ignore things, and then they manifest as pain inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
started with you, my feet. I was like, my feet are killing me. I can barely walk. I don't know what's going on. I was getting gaslit by the normal medical system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People were making assumptions because I'm chubby right now. And they're like, well, this is what it is. I'm like, I'm telling you, that's not what it is. Like I could feel what was going on. You're like, well, it's your back and your pelvic floor. What?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's like we're so conditioned to either push the pain away
Mm-hmm.
mentally or physically.
Tough it
Your
out.
yeah, your mind and your body will only have so much of that. And then one day they're going to be like, you are not listening to me. So I'm going to be very loud now. And I'm going to give you so much pain that you need to listen.
I mean, it's just your body talking to you. So is anxiety, depression, like overwhelm, spin out, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just different ways your body's trying to talk to you, and you just got to listen.
Yeah. And even with the 3 week subconscious system reboot, the majority of people who come to me, as soon as we start helping them manage their energy a little differently, that in itself makes them feel better. It
Mm-hmm.
helps them
Mm-hmm.
get out of the overwhelm. They can start to focus. They're more productive. They don't feel like they need to go sleep the day away.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you.
Like our
Well,
systems are
that's a good.
so
So
amazing.
when I listen to things like, how do I know this is for me? Can you give me like real life examples of like clients? Like, I know there's a array of things, and you work from like CEOs to like all these people. So, but just give people an example so they know, like, oh, that's me. I should probably do this.
Like specifically for the 3 week or in general, because they're kind of the same. I'll just mush them all together. But like a lot of it's overwhelmed. So a lot of the women who come to work with me, they're people pleasers, they're overgivers, they're burnt out, they're overwhelmed. They know there's more to life, but they don't know what it is. They don't know what's making them happy. They have been giving, but not to themselves. I've got athletes who come because they want to be better at what they're doing. I've got like corporate executives who come because maybe they're in this environment where they don't feel like they're being heard. They don't know how to communicate with the people. They're letting all this stuff get to them and they want to be able to perform better. But I would say it's interesting because if I look at what the thing is in common that they all have, it's overwhelm. There's something in their life that's overwhelming them.
Mm-hmm.
And it can also be relationship stuff. And you know what's cool about this? I like to say it waterfalls out. So when we work on one area, it can waterfall out. Your relationships can get better. The way you communicate can get better. The way you talk to your teams can get better.
I think
It's
that's one thing I've really noticed is like instead of being like I can't find my well, I still like can't find my words, but like I'm able to communicate a little bit, but better of what I want to say instead of just
yeah.
feeling because I couldn't be in the moment, like think before.
Well, and the other challenge, it was like your brain was so used to, okay, if I say this, this could happen, or if I say this, what are they going to say to me? And then what am I going to say back? You were
Mm-hmm.
projecting before anything was even happening,
Mm-hmm.
but not projecting the outcome you wanted. You were projecting the worst case scenario. And the challenge is when we don't focus on the outcomes we want, we will create the reality that we don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, not woo, because we're like, energy speaks before your mouth even opens. So if you're going into a situation and you're like, okay, well, this could happen. I'm going to say this, and then she could say this, and then I'll do that's what you're going to create because your energy is already combative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas you're able to go in from a calm state, the words come easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I love talking about energy because essentially we can change the dynamic of a conversation. And anybody who's listening to this, like, that sounds really weird. Really? Have you ever been out in public? Maybe you're buying something and maybe the cashier looks sad or grumpy or whatever. All you need to do is give her a compliment, say something nice. Her energy expands.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes with anybody. Give them a compliment, their energy expands. You've just
Mm-hmm.
changed the whole dynamic
Mm-hmm.
versus, and it sounds creepy, but one of the things I like to do, I love people watching.
Oh, me too.
And so I'll watch the interactions between people just to see what's going to go on. And I'll watch people be crabby. And then it's like a domino effect. This person's crabby, and then this person gets
Oh,
crabby, and
for
then this
sure.
person gets crabby. It's fascinating to me. And then for fun, I'll just go in and change the dynamic because that's what I like to do.
Well, in a good way, you're helping everyone.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I really think we need to be focusing on your pain, but like to manage that, it needs to be, we need to be looking at your muscles, nerves, fascia, tissue, all that, your nutrition, because I mean, inflammation, like you said, goes everywhere, and then your brain. And it's like, if you want that next level of success, that next level of feeling like your absolute best, you need a team, like the team approach. Everyone needs to be good at what they're good at and to take you to the next level.
And I'm going to add to that, if you're suffering from the pain and your mind, you're always like, I'm always in pain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always this, that my feet always hurt, my back always hurts.
I have a
Guess
bad
what's going
back.
to happen? Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a bad back. Do you know how many people I've heard say, I have bad knees?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I hear it all the time.
Do you though?
Mm-hmm.
It's like at flu season. Again, I'm going to use the corporate example because I have so many weird stories from when I worked in corporate. Flu season would come around, everybody be, oh, I think I'm getting sick. Yeah, I'm getting sick. Yeah, I'm definitely getting sick. I'm like, if you think you're getting sick, you're going to get sick. You're creating it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're healing your body, this is where affirmations can be very powerful. I'm the type of person that heals quickly naturally. I'm the type of person that is healthy. I'm the type of person that's got vitality and energy. We need to start telling those stories and having those conversations with ourselves versus, oh, I hate how I look. Oh, my feet hurt. Oh, my back is wrecked. Oh, my knees don't work. No. How do you want to feel? Focus
Mm-hmm.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
Start having those conversations.
Yeah.
Our mind is so powerful.
Huge. Huge. I think more than we even realize. And there's still more and more studies coming out about that. I mean, the mind is huge.
Yeah. And in the olden days, they were like, you can't reprogram things. And now they talk about neuroplasticity. Like our minds are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We can change it. It's interesting because I think it was about 15 years ago. I was working in marketing and advertising, doing all the things. And I had a client who was putting together this presentation, and it was all about how music can help seniors create new neural pathways.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, thankfully, she was a lovely woman and she was happy to talk about things. But I just remember asking her so many questions about this. Because I was like, this is fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that started the whole mind obsession with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, there's so many things we can be doing to make ourselves better. I don't want to say it like that though. I'm not saying we have to be better, but I know
Just to
like,
feel feel good.
yes, and be happy
Yeah.
and
In the
like,
moment, joyful. Cause I feel like this day and age, I mean, it was me a while ago, but like I couldn't get to that top level of joy, happiness, even though I felt like I should be there. And I
mhm,
get this from clients too, no matter celebrities, professional athletes, CEOs, I mean, moms, dads, everything. And they're just like, can't get that. And it's just like, okay, we need to do something.
and it's wild when you first experience it. I remember years ago when I first had my like this joy moment. Joy just went right through me. I burst out into tears because I didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Mm-hmm.
warm and fuzzy and overwhelming. I felt like this tidal wave of emotion. I was just like, what is this? Like, I'm 49 years old. So when I was growing up and starting my career and doing all the things, especially for women, I was constantly told emotions make you weak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then to experience that, like until I was about 40, I didn't even think I had emotions, to be honest.
Yeah,
I
because
was
you were
like,
able to, yeah.
oh.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then when you get to tap into the emotions, it's interesting at first because you've never experienced them. But
Mm-hmm.
being able to tap into the emotion is also what helps you visualize better. So it
Yeah.
helps you connect to your subconscious mind because your subconscious mind, it speaks the language of visualization.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Loves, let's pull that emotion in. When you have the thing that you desire, how's it going to feel? It's not actually about the thing you want. It's like, how are you going to feel when you get it? The athletes, how are you going to feel when you step onto that field? So powerful.
Yeah.
And years ago, I would remember I was doing a photo shoot and I was visualizing it and I could smell the lights. I know it sounds weird.
Hmm.
They have a smell and I could smell like the floor that I was going to be standing on and I could see the shine on the floor. I could like feel what the air was going to be like. And when you can get into that space, it's so powerful. It's one of my favorite things. This
Well,
is
I
why I
love
love
that.
what I do.
Yeah.
You not love this? You get to help people use their imagination.
Well, yeah. And dream again. And that's so crucial.
And
But
give yourself permission to dream and give yourself permission to say, I actually do want more in life. That's
Mhm.
okay.
Oh, it's totally okay.
And I think and this would be a whole different podcast, but there's this thing, especially with women going into stuff, is like, well, I'm too in my masculine. You're not in your masculine. Our energy is part of us. So it's about
Hmm.
finding the balance and recognizing that that masculine energy helps you accomplish things
Oh,
and
yeah.
support feminine principles, masculine structure. They go together.
Oh my gosh. I love
A whole
it.
nother wormhole.
Yes. Well, as we talked about earlier, there's a couple ways you can work with Brenda. One of them is the 3 week, I call it intensive, but reset.
I
Or
do love that intensive word though.
yeah, and she has like a 3 month program if you really want to dive deep into that burrito. And then we are linking all her information in the show notes so that you're able to find her. But I know this is like not talked about enough. So I was so excited to bring her on today to talk about this. So share this with some of your friends and just, I mean, you could have a conversation over coffee, an intentional, good energy conversation over this
Wouldn't that
and
be
see what you
delightful?
think. Yeah.
And the other thing too, I'll say is every month on my podcast, the Limitless Life podcast, there's an affirmation program designed for specific things. And every affirmation in that program is written to work with your subconscious mind, not against it.
And you can do it on your 30-second reset walks. So then you're doing something good for your mind and body.
I love that. I think
Mind
that's
Your
a
Body
great,
podcast. Here we are.
yeah, girl.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure. So fun to talk.
Thank
And
you for having me. This was such a good conversation.
ooh, love it. Have a great day, butthole breathers.